A very good evening. You're watching Prime 10 News coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo, bringing you the news. I'm Mariam Ganavijaya. Before we head on to our bulletin, I'd like to apologize to all our viewers for the delay in our news bulletin due to a technical difficulty here at our newsroom. Moving on, here's a look at your headlines.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
Harupena discounts of up to 30% off on frames and sunglasses from Vikramarchi Opticians.
Ex-Health Minister Kehelia re-clarifies medicine deals and says he's unaware of the payments. President appoints 10 ministry secretaries and 2 chief secretaries. President meets Tamil political parties from the north and east. New constitution within a year after the presidential poll. 7 kilograms of heroin netted in 4 days of Operation Yuktiya. Over 10,000 suspects arrested.
මේ නීති විරෝධී මත්කුණු ව්‍යාපාරය සහ පාතාලයෙන් හරියම්බ කරපු සෑම දේපලක් රාජස්ථානත කිරීම සඳහා නීතිය දැඩිව ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
Harupena discounts of up to 30% off on frames and sunglasses from Vikramarchi Opticians.
On to your lead story this evening, former Sri Lankan Health Minister Kehelia Rambukwala categorically denied allegations against him concerning the supply of substandard human immunoglobulin, addressing the media at a press conference held today at the Department of Government Information.
The controversial saga involves a local company identified as Isolis Biotech Pharma, accused of supplying and distributing substandard immunoglobulin, a vital medication for patients with severe neurological conditions. A criminal investigation is ongoing with a court case underway and 6 individuals, including the former Health Ministry Secretary Janakasri Chandragupta, currently in remand custody. Reports reveal that out of the 3,985 vials procured and administered to patients, a staggering 2,985 were allegedly found to be substandard or fake. Moreover, the company is accused of manufacturing and supplying the medication without proper approvals, further hiding the controversy. During the press conference, Rambukwala outlined the actions he took regarding the transaction.
මෙන්න රිසිට් පද. ඒතකොට මම තමයි මේක පැමිණිලි කරන්නේ. ඒ පමණක් නෙමෙයි නීතිපති දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවටත් එදාම මේ ලියමන යවනවා.
This is the receipt for my complaint. I wrote a letter to the Attorney General's department that very day seeking advice to act on this. There is another allegation citing that 1 billion rupees was used. Only 40 million rupees was paid at the time. Another 100 million rupees was pending as payment. When the payment was to be made, I verbally told him not to proceed with it. Unfortunately, within 5 minutes, I understood that attempts were being made to make the payment. Then I issued a directive to suspend the payments. Some say that the public property was misused. That's a lie. As the minister, I did my duty to the letter.
දේපල අවබෝධ කර අවභාවිතා කරා ඒවා ගෙවීම් කරයි කියන එක අමූලික බොරුවක්. ඇමතිවරයා හැටියට කරන්න පුළුවන් ඒක රාජකාරිය අකුරට මිෂ්ඨ කරලා තියෙනවා මම.
ඔබතුමාගේ ලේකම්තුමා එතුමා අපේ රටේ නීති අනුව චීෆ් ඇකවුන්ටිං ඔෆිසර් වෙන්නේ එතුමා.
Your secretary at the time is also the chief accounting officer by law. So how do you say that you were not aware? In addition, how is it that after it was said in your presence that this person is not suitable to lead the NMRA, that very person is involved in other programs? After surviving the parliamentary action, why did you decide to bring the Attorney General and the Chief of Police into this in October?
ජයග්‍රහණය කරාට පස්සේ ඇයි ඔබතුමා තීරණය කරේ නීතිපතිතුමාටයි පොලිස්පතිතුමාටයි මේ සම්බන්ධව කියන්න ඔක්තෝබර් මාසේ?
යම් කිසි විදිහේ ප්‍රමිතියන් ගැන ප්‍රශ්නයක් මතුවුනහම අපි සතියකට දෙපාරක් තියෙන.
When there is an issue with regard to quality, we met twice a week to discuss and decide on action that needs to be taken. When advice was given on 2 such occasions, I told them to withdraw from it and conduct an investigation. Investigations revealed that the medication did not meet the required quality. In addition, it was also revealed that a WR was awarded during the procurement process. However, the NMRA chief said that he did not award such an endorsement and that the letter does not contain his signature. He dismissed the document as fake. Then I decided to file a complaint with the CID. I spoke to the IGP and made the complaint. On the day the meeting took place, I also deployed a team with the police to inspect this factory. By that time, it was closed. That too was an issue.
මගේ උපදේශ පිටම මේ කර්මාන්ත ශාලාව නැවත පරීක්ෂා කරන්නයි කියලා වෙනම කණ්ඩායමක් පොලිසියත් සමග හරියයි. එතකොට ඒකට EB අතුරු දාලා වහලා ගිහිල්ලා කියන එක තමයි ඒක දෙවනුව ප්‍රශ්නයක්.
දේකම්තුමා චන්ද්‍රගුප්ත මහත්මයා ඕඩර් එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා මෙම පුද්ගලයාට වහම සල්ලි ගෙවන්න කියලා. ඒක උසාවියේ කිව්ව ප්‍රකාශයක් නීතිපති දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව. ඔබතුමා වැනි තීරණයක් ලේකම්වරයා ගන්න බව දැනගත්තේ පස්සේද?
විත්තියේ නීතිපති දෙපාර්තමේන්තුවෙන් ප්‍රකාශයක් කරලා තිබුණා.
I saw it in the papers that the Attorney General's department has made such a statement. He is the Chief Accounting Officer. I cannot comment on that. He has the right and he can conduct himself in the manner. I did not know.
ඒ ආකාරයෙන් සිද්ධ වුණා නම් මම දන්නේ නැහැ.
Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa of the Jatika Jana Balavega expressed his views on this matter.
It is necessary that the written advice is given by the former Minister of Health, Keheliya Rambukwella. This cannot happen without his guidance, blessings and coverage. This supplier is not someone who can deal with millions of rupees. He is someone who drove around the health ministry and someone who got blacklisted. As we heard, several officials have said that this was done on the instructions of the minister. The minister should be questioned. Why is the CID delaying the process of recording a statement from the minister? The minister knows too much about this. If the immunoglobulin scam is properly investigated and if the investigations are conducted properly, much more information regarding this scam can be revealed.
Representatives of Magin Ratata organisation and other civil groups met with officials from the Department of Immigration today to discuss the potential travel restriction against former Health Minister Keheliya Rambukwella regarding the ongoing fake human immunoglobulin scandal.
අද දවසේදී අපි චෝදනා පත්‍රයක් බාර දුන්නා. මේක CID එක මගින් බාර දෙන්න තියෙන චෝදනා පත්‍රයක් ආගමන විගමන පාලකවරයාට.
තුමා ওই සම්බන්ධ කිසි වගකීමක් ගන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම සම්බන්ධයක් නැහැ කියන කතාව කියනවා.
දැන් මේ අමාත්‍යවරයාට එහෙම සම්බන්ධයක් නැත්නම් කොහොමද ඔහු කැබිනට් පත්‍රිකා ඉදිරිපත් කරන්නේ? කැබිනට්ටුවට ඉදිරිපත් කරපු මේ පත්‍රිකාව 6 පාරක් රිජෙක්ට් වෙලා තියෙනවා. 6 පාරම ඉදිරිපත් කළේ කෙහෙලිය රඹුක්වැල්ල නැත්නම් එයාගේ අවතාරයක්ද?
In the meantime, President Ranil Wickremesinghe appointed 10 new ministry secretaries.
M.N. Ranasinghe was appointed as the Secretary for the Ministry of Justice, Prisons and Constitutional Reforms. He was the former Education Ministry Secretary. Vasantha Pereira has been appointed as the Secretary of the Ministry of Education and she was the former Secretary Ministry of Justice, Prisons and Constitutional Reforms. Gunadasa Samarasinghe has been appointed as the Secretary for the Ministry of Wildlife and Forest Resources Conservation. The post was previously held by RMC M. Herath. AC Mohammad Nafil was appointed as the Secretary for the Ministry of Water Supply and Estate Infrastructure. The post was previously held by RMWS Samaruddhi Vakara. WPP Asaratna has been appointed as the Secretary for the Ministry of Public Administration, Home Affairs, Provincial Councils and Local Government. The post was previously held by KD.N. Ranjit Asoka. Sama Darshana Pandikorala has been appointed as the Secretary for the Ministry of Irrigation. It was UDC Jayalal who held the post until today. In addition, BKP Chandrakirti was appointed as the Secretary to the Ministry of Environment and the post was previously held by Specialist Dr. Anil Jasinghe. Dr. Sulakshana Jayawardena was appointed as the Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Energy. Engineer Ranjit Rubasinghe was appointed as the Secretary to the Ministry of Transport and Highways. Dr. Dharmasiri Kumaratunga was appointed as the Secretary to the Ministry of Technology. RMWS Samaruddhi Vakara was appointed as the Chief Secretary of the North Central Province. SLDK Vijay Singha was appointed as the Chief Secretary of the Western Province.
Sri Lanka's political landscape is gearing up for a significant year in 2024 with a series of key elections mandated by the country's constitution. The centerpiece of 2024's political calendar is undoubtedly the presidential election and, if necessary, the parliamentary election can also take place at any given time. Adding further complexity to the electoral landscape are the provincial council and local government elections. With the multiple potential elections on the horizon, the question of which will be held first remains unanswered.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe announced on Thursday that the district decentralised budget for this year amounts to 11,250 million rupees, marking a significant allocation of a hiatus of 3 years. The funds are slated to be disbursed to all district secretaries during the first week of January. The President has said that for the past 3 years there has been a significant absence of government capital expenditure affecting both the central government and all provincial councils. This hiatus has led to a substantial economic downturn at the village level, causing the collapse of numerous local businesses and exacerbating the challenges faced by the tourism industry. While the President gave assurances over the district's decentralised budget, he also met with the members of Parliament representing the Tamil community from the north and east later that evening. The President has informed the MPs that after the next parliamentary election takes place, a new constitution will be introduced within a year.
අපි පැවසුවේ 2015-19 කාලවකවානුව තුළ එතුමා අගමැති වෙලා ඉන්නකොට කරපු constitution එකට.
When he was the Prime Minister between 2015 and 2019, a new constitution was presented. Even during that time, the views of these MPs and ministers were obtained. He asked if we required another round of talks. However, he noted that this needs to be discussed again, and thereafter the next parliamentary election, a new constitution will be introduced within a year.
ව්‍යවස්ථාව පිළිබඳව නැවත වාරයක් සාකච්ඡාවක් කරන බවටත් අලුත් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවක් කරා, ඒ කියන්නේ ඊළඟ පාර්ලිමේන්තුව මැතිවරණයෙන් පසුව අවුරුද්දක් වගේ කාලයක් ඇතුළත දේශපාලන අලුත් ව්‍යවස්ථාවක් සඳහා වූ වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න ඕනේ කියන එක ජනාධිපතිතුමා ඒවක්. ඒ කියන්නේ අලුත් ව්‍යවස්ථාවක් සම්පාදනය වෙන්න ඕන. අනිවාර්යයෙන්. ජනාධිපතිතුමා කියන්නේ ලබන අවුරුද්දේ මැතිවරණයකින් පස්සේ අවුරුද්දක් ඇතුළත අලුත් ව්‍යවස්ථාවක් ගේනවා කියලා කියලා තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ලබන අවුරුද්දේ මැතිවරණ සහාය දෙන්න කියලා කිව්වොත් නෑ. එහෙම එතුමා එහෙම අපේ සහයෝගයක් එහෙම ඉල්ලුවෙත් නෑ. ඒක ඉතින් අපේ සහාය අපේ පක්ෂයට තමයි තියෙන්නේ.
As I mentioned before, the undisputed centerpiece of 2024 is the presidential election. But will President Ranil Wickremesinghe contest the polls, and who will run for the top post from the other parties? Here is the presidential battle.
Presidential battle.
UNP's Ravi Karunanayake, a former minister, affirmed President Ranil Wickremesinghe has made strides in advancing the country.
As per the constitution, we need to be prepared for any election. I believe the people's issues need to be solved.
Since he
made that comment, it is better to ask it from him. The budget was passed. Which party supported it? Non-partisan Ranil Wickremesinghe presented it. None of those who boasted came forward. The only person who came forward was Ranil Wickremesinghe. Everyone is reprimanding him. Despite that, we are moving forward.
Presidential battle.
Spokesperson for the SJB, SM Marikar, said that Ranil Wickremesinghe will likely not contest the next presidential election.
වර්තමාන ජනාධිපතිවරයා මේ මැතිවරණයට ඉල්ලන්නේ නැති බව සක්සුදක්ෂය පැහැදිලි. මොකද ඔහු දෙපාරක් ජනාධිපතිවරණ පෙරදුනා.
The current president will not run for president. He ran for office twice and lost, and in 2010, knowing that he would lose, he put forward a pawn. Despite having the situation set for a win in his fourth run, he did not contest because he knew he cannot win. His term as president is a fluke. Therefore, because he is bound to lose, he will not contest. At the SLPP convention, it was clear, and Basil Rajapaksa gave the hint that their presidential candidate is Dhammika Pereira. As per the seating order that day, priority was given to Dhammika Pereira. So given that Dhammika Pereira will be fielded by the SLPP, President Ranil Wickremesinghe does not have a party to contest from. He can contest from the UNP, but he would be defeated. Therefore, he will not contest.
රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහට ඡන්ද ඉල්ලන්න පක්ෂයක් නැහැ. UNP එකෙන් ඉල්ලන්න පුළුවන්, ඉල්ලලා වැඩක් නැහැ, කුල්ල කුජීත වෙලාම යනවා. ඒ නිසා ඔහු ඡන්ද ඉල්ලන්නේ නැත.
Presidential battle.
Will the SLPP field Dhammika Pereira as its candidate? State Minister P.L. Nishantha responded.
මූද හත් ගව්වක් තියාගෙන මං හිතන්නේ අඹුර ගහන්න සූදානම් වෙන කෙනෙක් නෙමෙයි පියල් නිශාන්ත.
P.L. Nishantha is not a person who would take an unnecessary risk. We will support the most suitable person. However, no matter who is put forward, we require a person who can provide leadership to protect everyone from the common man to the businessman to the public sector officials and who has a vision. We will select that leadership.
නායකත්වය අපි සුදුසු පරිදි තෝරා ගන්නවා.
Presidential battle.
Professor Gunapala Ratnasekara from the Freedom People's Congress said that Dallas Alaha Peruma is the ideal common candidate for the opposition.
We put forward Dallas Alaha Peruma as the candidate for the election in Parliament with the aspiration that he would eradicate fraud and corruption and build this country. That attempt was defeated. Ranil Wickremesinghe is a rejected leader. This country needs a suitable leader. Therefore, we believe in a common candidate. It would be ideal for a person like Dallas Alaha Peruma to come forward as the common candidate. It can be decided by the other political parties as well. We say that Dallas Alaha Peruma must become the common candidate. There are many powerful political groups in the opposition and they can decide on it together.
Presidential battle.
Leader of the Maubima Janata Party, Dilip Jayawira, made the following comments in Madrigiriya.
Entrepreneurs face issues and those issues are put forward to me. I cannot solve those issues at this level. That is why I thought of becoming president and solving them. Most of these issues need to be solved by the government. The taxes have had a grave impact. We do not see a reduction in interest rates in the near future. Businesses cannot operate due to high capital costs. The government also does not have a strategy. The truth is that there is an insensitivity towards managing this.
කළමනාකරණය කර ගැනීම සඳහා සහ බලාපොරොත්තු නොවුණු විදිහට අසංවේදී බවක් තියෙනවා මේකේ ඇත්ත ප්‍රශ්නෙට.
The newly appointed High Commissioner of India to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, presented his credentials to President Ranil Wickremesinghe, marking the official commencement of his tenure in Sri Lanka.
Santosh Jha's most recent assignment prior to the Sri Lankan posting was at the Embassy of India in Brussels, where he served from July 2020 until December 2023. Jha has the experience of serving as a member of negotiating teams for free trade agreements with Sri Lanka and the European Union, respectively. The newly appointed Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Santosh Jha, conveyed in the guest book of President Ranil Wickremesinghe that India and Sri Lanka share deep-rooted bonds in history, geography, culture and people-to-people ties.
News First with the people.
Gypsies live in concert with Sirasa TV, where music meets the spirit of the season. Christmas with Gypsies. Back after 25 years to Vihara Mahadevi Open Air. Sirasa Flashtown 23 Gypsies live in concert. Featuring BNS, Hana and Nadima. Get your tickets now. Media sponsors Sirasa TV and TV1.
Welcome back. You're watching Primetime News on Newsfirst. Moving on with more local news. An ongoing major operation against a criminal activity dubbed Operation Yuktiya has led to the arrest of 10,456 suspects since its launch on the 17th of December. Now, Sri Lanka police said that the operation targeted 4,665 individuals listed as documented suspects and 885 of them have been arrested. Now, Sri Lanka's ongoing fight against drug trafficking took a significant step forward with the seizure of multiple luxury properties and vehicles allegedly acquired through illegal means. Officials from the Illegal Assets Investigation Division in Galle confiscated 3 high-value assets linked to suspected drug traffickers. The seized properties included a 3-story building in Hikkaduwa, 2 buildings located near the Mahamudra Bridge, 30 pounds of gold, a 45-foot-long multi-day fishing vessel and 3 vehicles. Sri Lanka police said that the value of the seized assets is approximately 134 million rupees. Now, in response to a recent surge of motorcycle thefts across Colombo and Galle, the Acting Inspector General of Police visited the Bambalapitiya police station to personally oversee the ongoing investigation. 12 motorcycles that were stolen from the Cinnamon Gardens, Bambalapitiya, Fort, Petta, Valikada and Maharagama police divisions, and 7 motorcycles stolen from Galle were seized by the police. Police said that 30 people who were arrested in raids yesterday were produced to the Halfstop Magistrates Court as well. A massive search operation took place in the Palambatta and Pidaliwat areas early this morning as well. 14 people charged with drug offences were arrested and 8 others were arrested for the possession of heroin, ice and marijuana. Notices were pasted to raise awareness among the people as well. A more comprehensive report on this story will be coming up on our social media platforms shortly. Moving on to more local news. An ongoing major operation against a criminal activity. Sri Lanka police had raised a 2-storied holiday resort located in Kapitipola, Bandarawala and launched investigations.
This holiday resort is located in the Haggal area and Sri Lanka police suspect that it belongs to notorious drug trafficker named Wele Sudha. Sri Lanka police is working on confiscating the property. This measure was taken on the directive of the Acting Inspector General of Police to determine whether farms and resorts operated by criminals are located within the Bandarawala police jurisdiction.
In some developing news that we have been reporting over the past few days, major efforts are being made to secure the release of 56 Sri Lankans, young men and women, who are trapped in a cyber slave camp operated by a terrorist group along the Thailand-Myanmar border. On Thursday, that is the 21st, relatives of the trapped Sri Lankan held talks with the National Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force that operates under the Ministry of Defence. A comprehensive report on this story will be coming up on our social media platforms as soon as well. As we mentioned to you earlier in the bulletin, we are facing a technical difficulty at the newsroom at the moment, and we will continue to update you on more stories on our social media platforms as soon as possible. Moving on, Sri Lankan Airlines welcomed a chocolate-equipped Airbus A320 to its fleet. Here are the details.
Sri Lankan Airlines welcomed a brand new Airbus A320 aircraft to its fleet, boosting its total aircraft count to 22 and marking a significant step towards fleet expansion and route optimization. Leased for a term of 6 years, the aircraft, identified by the serial number 43ABS, arrived in Colombo from Malaysia on December 21, 2023. After undergoing customization and branding, it will be deployed on short and medium-haul routes across the Indian subcontinent, Far East and Middle East, starting with an inaugural flight to the Maldives scheduled for December 29, 2023. Equipped with fuel-efficient sharklet wingtips, the A320 boasts a comfortable cabin configuration of 12 business class and 138 economy class seats, allowing Sri Lankan to cater to increased passenger demand on these key routes. With the addition of the new A320, Sri Lankan Airlines now operates a fleet of 12 narrow-bodied and 10 wide-bodied aircrafts.
Organised by the University of Moratuwa, a discussion on the reforms for a sustainable power sector for the next generation was held in Colombo.
The University of Moratuwa held a discussion on the reforms for a sustainable power sector for the next generation in Colombo. National Electricity Advisory Council, the national system operator, and the changes that must be made to the system were discussed during the forum. Professor in Electrical Engineering from the University of Moratuwa, Asanka Rodrigo, spoke about the modules that can be used with the reform when looking into the requirements of the power sector. A special addition of a National Electricity Advisory Council in the Draft Act and an omission in ongoing reforms and proposed restructuring.
The power sector reform concept started way back in 1980s, and everybody knows that it's a requirement where you cannot have the same system all the time. With the requirement, you have to do certain type of amendment and the changes in the sector. We are mainly targeting on the restructuring, and basically most of the power sectors were started in most of the countries as a monopolistic structure, where the people realized that monopolistic structure will not fulfill our requirement, so that then people proposed the reform. When you look at the power sector also, depending on the requirement, we have to decide what type of model we are going to implement with the reform. We are looking at the reform. Reform is doing for we need to have a transparently and the regulatory and even the competition and the sustainability, so that there are basic fundamental things we have to look at when we are forming Electricity Act or the Reform Act, especially in Sri Lanka. So that because of that, what I am saying is there are certain missing parts. Of course, the reform is needed. So there are a lot of things which we have to improve in this particular bill. But the core part is this, where what I want to highlight is before approving this one in the parliament, there are a lot more things to be improved.
For a model towards a sustainable electricity sector in Sri Lanka was suggested by the panelists.
I've had this idea for a few years now to go on a quest to try and discover who he was.
Why did you have to go for something like this?
I want them to see this film and say, oh my God, this country is beautiful.
Was there a motive behind this whole documentary to promote tourism?
It was an unintended consequence, I'd say, Mariam. So when I started this film, I had an idea of a story. But when I ended it, I had a whole different understanding of who he was.
20 years later, we are still finding every opportunity to honor the genius of the place.
Newsfirst exclusive with writer and director of the genius of the place of the Aziz. 5th of January 2024 from 9:30 p.m. onwards on TV1. Streaming live on Newsfirst YouTube and Facebook channels.
A special photo here of probably two of the most famous cricketers ever in the world. Sir Donald Bradman, Sachin Tendulkar.
Everybody in India said, right, who's the greatest there's ever been? There's Bradman.
The hunger for runs, the hunger to bat on and on.
When you look at footage of Bradman, he looks more dynamic. When he cuts and when he pushes off for a run, he looks like a modern player.
I just love the way he batted and he just made runs for fun.
Brilliant effort by Sachin Tendulkar. That brings the crowd to their feet.
It felt like the country weighed on his shoulders every time he went out to bat.
They kept saying it and they kept their balance. They kept grounded through all that. Not an easy thing to do.
It just defies belief that you can keep it all together. And maybe their sanctuary was going out in the middle of the cricket ground.
Bradman and Tendulkar, a Christmas special, 25th December at 9:30 p.m. on TV1.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of Primetime News here on TV1. Thank you very much for watching. Good night and take care.